is. It is another episode of the Extra Yard here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. It is officially draft week in the National Football League. Most teams will be drafting on Thursday. I don't think the Dolphins will be drafting on Thursday. We'll have to keep our eyes out if they do decide to make some sort of a move to get into the first round. I'm not expecting it, especially since the ammunition that they've got. They only have the Dolphins 4 picks total in the draft. So unless, Chris Greer has just maybe identified somebody that could be there in the back half of that first round that he would be desperate to grab, I don't see the Dolphins making a play to trade into the first round this year. I bought you a little time, Troy, because I know you did that sprint to the door and you sprint. You don't run the 40 as fast as you used to, Troy, because when before I hit the 30-second countdown, Troy's like, I only need 30 seconds. And that was like a 60-second jog he just took there.
Yeah, I'm not as fast as I used to be, but just sorry.
Yeah, if this was 1990, he would have been there in 10 seconds and back. It would have only taken him that long.
Donald, we got to talk about a number of things here. Yeah. Like, we're going to talk about Jimmy Butler's performance. Absolutely.
He great last night.
Right? Woo. Absolutely incredible. We're going to just talk about sports in general, of why it's so popular. It's live. Like, I have so many friends that watch reality TV, and I go, that's like wrestling. That's like fake. Like, I'm not going to spend my time watching that.
Right.
Movies, I'm not a big movie guy, and I'm not knocking anyone that watches movies. Movies is someone's interpretation, their mind, but it's also fake.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, life does not end like a movie. It just doesn't. The one thing in life that's real for entertainment purposes is sports.
Yeah.
And that's why we love it. You could tune into a game on any given night and potentially see something that you've never seen before. And that's worth the price of admission, in my opinion. So, people, I'm going to say people. I was going to say a lot of ladies sit there and say, oh, you love your sports and you're so into sports. And yeah, but you got to understand the impact that sports has on all of us. Like, growing up, I just played the game. I didn't know how big the game was. Right. I didn't know how it affected other people. I truly didn't until I finished playing. I realized a little bit. You could cut me off at any time. I realized a little bit when I got to Boston College and I was going to like my first home game, and I go, wow, this is like crazy. Like, the drive to the stadium, you're talking about like a 5-mile drive, and it's just tailgating along the entire journey that it takes to get there. And I go, this is absolutely insane, right? I'm just playing football. And then go to the pros and do all of that. Oh, yeah. But when I finished playing, I can remember this. When I was finished playing, I went to a Monday night football outing at Shula's in Miami Lakes. That used to be the hot spot to go to.
I've heard.
And yes. And one of the guys invited me out. So I went and I walked in there and I said, you gotta be kidding me. I said, this is how people like look at the sport thing that's going on? I had no idea until I was finished playing, Donald. Until I was finished playing.
Well, because and there's certain performances and certain moments where you kind of start to realize I'm watching history. Like I'm watching something I will never forget. I mean, you think about Dwayne Wade against the Dallas Mavericks in the finals in 2006, the game 3 he had, LeBron against Boston in game 6 when he was with the Miami Heat, when the Heat came from behind to win that series. And, you know, I know it's the first round, but I felt that way watching Jimmy Butler last night. And Troy, it was from the jump. I mean, Jimmy, 22 points in the first quarter, and nobody else, the supporting cast, was doing virtually nothing, which was frustrating. Jimmy goes off for 22, and I was some of my tweets from last night didn't age very well, Troy, because a couple times I tweeted out like, Jimmy's going to score 60 and the Heat are still going to lose. We're going to waste this amazing epic performance from
60.
Jimmy.
Well, you only off a few.
Yeah. I was tweeting that in the first quarter. During the first quarter, I was tweeting that Jimmy was going to go off for 60. Because you could tell it felt like one of those nights.
Right.
It felt like one of those nights, and then they come from double digits down in the fourth quarter with Jimmy being the guy. It was just heat check left and right because he couldn't miss. Every shot he took, it was going in. It was insane. And like again, first round of the playoffs, we can't even say for sure if the Heat are going to win the series. Up 3-1, you're in a really good position. But no matter what happens the rest of these playoffs, I'm going to remember that game for the rest of my life.
Absolutely. And like when you just think about the whole scenario, everything that's going on, you sit there and you say, wow, I'm happy that I turned this game on, that I'm watching this game, that I had the opportunity to watch this game. Some people won't understand it, but those who like sports, like I'm a Knicks fan, and I'm happy about my New York Knicks. I would love to see my Knicks.
Yeah.
I would love to see it would take me back to the days when I used to go to Heat games on a regular basis, right? And so I would love to see the New York Knicks and the Miami Heat face each other in the playoffs. It would be, you think this series right now that's going on between, Miami and who the heck they're playing? Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And then the Knicks and Cleveland. Like, those two series would not even compare to what would happen if the Knicks and the Lakers, and the Heat, the Knicks and the Heat got together. It would not even compare to what we're watching right now. And I just so want to, because I'm a loyal guy. I'm a Mets fan. Never rooted for another baseball team outside of the Marlins when, I was in radio and all of that stuff. I'm a New York Knicks fan. Never rooted for any other team outside of the Miami Heat when I was in radio and stuff and all of that. My ex-wife, she used to be a Heat dancer, that stuff.
Oh, there you
go.
So
I went to all the games. And then, for that to take place now, unbelievable. Yeah. I am so rooting for that. I am so rooting for the New York Knicks and the Miami Heat to face each other in the next round.
Well, and it's crazy that
because they're built alike.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Well, and it's crazy that all this is going on. Obviously the Heat are in great shape. Florida Panthers not so much. They're down 3-1 against Boston. Their goose is cooked. Unfortunately,
they don't have a shot against Boston. Boston is just playing.
But all this is going on. All this is going on in the week of the NFL draft. And one of my favorite things, Troy, about the draft, and I know that, obviously some of these rumors that come out like hurt people, like, the Laramie Tunsil gas mask bong, which hurt his draft stock, but it allowed the Dolphins to draft him. And then that turned into one of the craziest trades in history. Yes. And there's a crazy rumor that started circulating today. Let me see if I can share my screen here.
Please share it.
All right.
Share it.
So let me see. Can you see that there on the screen? So this is crazy. So Will Levis, the Kentucky quarterback, who I like, certainly not expecting him, at least I wasn't, to be the first quarterback taken or the number one overall pick in the draft. Like they mentioned here in this New York Post article, Bryce Young is still the betting favorite to be the first overall pick in the draft. But something crazy happened with Will Levis. So on Reddit, a user who goes by Sale Agreeable 2834, who only created their account 6 days ago. So let me reiterate, we have no idea who this person is. We have no clue who Sales Agreeable 2830. Like, it's not like Adam Schefter reported this on ESPN. He was the guy who broke the Aaron Rodgers news yesterday, which we'll talk about. It's not like Adam Schefter or Jay Glazer or something, or, and any name your favorite reporter, reported on this. Some random Reddit user that no one has ever heard of and just created their account 6 days ago claimed that Will Levis is telling his friends and family that the Carolina Panthers are going to select him with the number 1 overall pick. And, whoever is going to be the number 1 overall pick, you usually get the heads up from the franchise beforehand. But this person, who we have no idea who this user is alleging that Will Levis is telling family and friends that the Panthers are going to draft him. So do you know what happened to his first overall pick draft odds? This morning, it was plus 4,000 for him to be the first overall pick. So if you bet $100, you'd win 4,000 back. And within hours, those odds changed from plus 4,000 to plus 400. So money was pouring in on Will Levis, and some of the sports books even, I guess, had, because it's such unusual action and it comes from such a weird rumor, that some of the sports books even took this off the board. But so people, can't bet on it at the moment until things kind of normalize. But isn't it crazy? But then you also look at it, Troy, it's kind of like a lottery ticket. Like when those odds were plus 4,000, you're like, hey, I'm going to put $100 on this just in case there's truth to it. Like, just let me put, $10 to win 400 back just in case there's some truth to this. That's what happened. It went crazy, these numbers today.
That is absolutely insane. Now, I did watch the young kid play, and I liked his game.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens. I said to you off air, because we discussed this a little bit, and I said, if there's a GM out there that is willing to put his balls on the line and take Will Levis number 1 over all of these other highly touted quarterbacks coming out of college, his career will be determined in the course of 10 to 12 months. If he hits, he'll be in the NFL for life. If he misses, he'll go back to being a scout somewhere. That's just how it's going to work. That's the reality of the situation. And I never heard this rumor. And while you're talking, I'm about to call my buddy who went to Kentucky, big Kentucky fan. I'm just going to call him out of the blind.
Okay.
This is Mark Higgs, right? Former Miami Dolphin running back.
Yes.
Let's see if he picks up.
I hope he picks up.
What up, Strad?
Higgy, what's good, man?
How you doing, man?
I am doing well. I don't know if people can hear what you're saying, but I'm doing a little show. Remember when we were up at Roy's house? Oh, I don't know if you were there that day. Anyway, I'm doing a little show on YouTube right now, and there's this rumor about Carolina Panthers selecting Levis, the quarterback from Kentucky, number 1 overall. This rumor comes out of nowhere. I just want to know your thoughts on watching him this year, because you're a big Kentucky fan.
Oh, man. I read not even comment on it.
So, what?
I'm a big Kentucky fan, and I mean, he was playing hurt most of the year.
Right.
And, so you couldn't really get a true judge on him. And a lot of times he was trying to do too much.
Right.
He was trying to do too much, which cost, the games, like especially the Ole Miss game. He was trying to do too much, trying to run the ball and all that stuff, and Kentucky has some pretty good young receivers, but he wouldn't, I don't know if he was hurt or he's trying to do too much, putting too much on his shoulders.
So if you are an NFL GM, would you draft him? And if so, what round would you draft him in?
I would draft him, but I don't know. I think he needs to play behind somebody to learn, some discipline, like he would be good behind, like like a veteran quarterback where he could learn from.
Okay.
You know, I don't think he's like Andrew Luck where he can go in and take over. You know what I'm saying?
Right. He needs time.
He needs time, and
but he is a prospect.
Oh, he's a hell of a prospect. He's strong. He's he's mobile. He got a rocket arm. Like my thing is the mentality, because you can see in some of the games where he was trying to do too much.
Right.
You know? So where in the pros you can't do that. They gonna pick up on that stuff. So who he remind me of, the quarterback from Buffalo.
Josh Allen.
What's the quarterback from Buffalo?
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. That's who he reminds me of.
That ain't a bad. That's not a bad quarterback.
No. I mean, trust me, he has the ability, but he's not as big as Josh. But he's strong.
Right.
But he's not as big as Josh. But he reminds me of that, where he tries to do more than he should sometimes, and that causes trouble. So, but that comes with experience. You know what I'm saying? Josh had to learn. He had to learn some stuff. So that's why I'm hoping Levis will go to a team where he don't have to start.
Right.
You know?
Where he can sit and learn. Sort of like what's going on in Green Bay.
Yeah, and for him to go for them to jump up and take him first pick, I don't know about that.
No, I don't see it either. But I just had to reach out to you and everything, and I had to get your opinion because I know you follow Kentucky football. So I appreciate you. I love you.
Hey, Strat.
Yo,
I like the quarterback from Ohio State.
You like Stroud?
I think he's the most ready quarterback. I'm gonna tell you who else I like, but I wouldn't like him to start right now. But I think he's gonna be a hell of a bargain. Quarterback came out of Tennessee. If he didn't get hurt, he'd be the number one quarterback.
Hendon Hooker. Okay. All right.
He would now watch him. That whoever gets him is going to get a great deal. See, he's coming off he hurt his knee, but that quarterback can throw, run, and he's accurate.
I saw a couple of games with Tennessee, and I saw that he was efficient moving the team down the field. He was pretty much unstoppable in some of the games that I watched. I sat there and said, this kid right here is pretty good.
He played against Alabama and had probably about 400 or 500 yards.
Yeah.
Who throws against Nick Saban's defense?
Not many.
And this kid was just standing straight in the pocket. Like, I was like, dang, go on. I mean, and if he ain't hurt his knee, I'm guaranteed he's been number one quarterback coming out.
Awesome, man. Well, Higgy, I appreciate your time. I got to get back to this thing.
All right, go back to work, big dog.
I love you, dude.
All right, dog.
That was fantastic.
I'm sorry that I did that.
No, but, are you kidding me? He actually.
Like you're talking about the quarterback from Kentucky, and I go like Hickey is diehard Kentucky. Yeah. He watched every game, every play. He could give me the real deal.
I thought he gave a damn good breakdown too of Levis.
He
and
did.
Listen, I wonder
if
he's
got that wasn't ready.
Yeah. Right, but someone who may not be ready to be like a great year one guy, but has Josh Allen type of upside, right? It's just does he develop? Because remember that was the case with Allen. First couple of years, no accuracy, very shaky, and then suddenly in the third year, boom, the guy becomes an MVP candidate every year.
Like the way I look at this situation and listening to what Higgs just said. Out in Tennessee, there are question marks about our former quarterback, Ryan Tannehill, right? Okay, You go ahead and you play. I don't know the order of the draft, any of that. But you go ahead and you play your starting quarterback, your veteran, and then your young guy comes in and gets to learn from him because they're like sponges. They just take up every day. They're like overloaded with information. And so you put him in a situation behind a Ryan Tannehill, and Ryan Tannehill, if he plays well, okay, you ride him out, like the situation in Green Bay with Love, right? Love is up there. He hasn't played now for 3 years, and he's about to take over the franchise. All of a sudden, you sit this young kid behind a Ryan Tannehill, gets to learn, and next year, Ryan Tannehill, or later this year, he doesn't play well, you insert him. And that's how it should work, unless you have that bona fide number one pick.
I like that. I want to talk about how the Dolphins are going to spend their first pick right after we talk about prize picks. Guys, oh man, I'm having so much fun, especially with these NBA playoffs and the Stanley Cup playoffs. Prize picks, it's the most blessed combination of daily fantasy and parlays. See what I mean? Go to prizepicks.com or the Prize Picks mobile app. When you create your account and you make your first deposit, make sure to use our code 5. That's FIVE. Use our code 5, and they're going to double your first deposit up to $100. You deposit $100, they give you $100 in free play money on top of that. And you're going to get some mileage out of that free play money, especially when the wins start racking up, then your money's multiplying. So on Prize Picks, it's so easy. I make my selections in under 60 seconds. You select 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players, and you can go cross sport with it. On the same selection, you can have, 3 NBA players, 2 NHL players, mix and match those, and you predict if they're going to go over or under their stat projections. You can go passing yards, passing yards, plus rushing yards. If we're talking football, you can go points and assists in basketball, goals and assists in hockey. And if you get all your predictions correct, overs and unders, you're winning real money. You're getting 3 times, 10 times, 20 times your money back for getting these picks correct. Fully legal in the state of Florida, by the way. So this is not an offshore operation. Easy to deposit your money, easy to get your money out. And make sure to use our code 5. That's FIVE. Prize Picks truly is daily fantasy made easy. And Troy, you're going to be excited about this one because we recently welcomed back to the 5 Reasons Sports family You Break Wheel Fix. Because a lot of us, have you ever, you cracked your wheels driving around those South Florida roads, or you parked too close to the curb? It's happened to all of us, right?
Donno, this is no lie. I knew of the company for a long time.
Really?
I've known about the company for a long time. Like I used to be in radio with advertising and all of that. I knew certain clients. Just yesterday, last night watching sports, I saw a commercial. You break, we fix. And they did rims. And the reason why it stuck with me is because about a week and a half ago, like I turned the corner trying not to hit someone. And I hit the curb. I scraped the curb, and I have those. My rims are black, and so now I have a little area. It's only this big,
but still, a little area. You know it's there.
It's not black, and I know it's there.
You know it's there.
And I said, I saw the commercial last night. I said, I'm going to see them.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Well, it's perfect. And now you can tell them I'm with 5 Reasons Sports, and they're going to know they are the complete automotive wheel solution, right? You don't need to replace your wheels, as You Break Wheel Fix can refinish them to like new, offering complete refinish options through power coating, matching, and polishing. You Break Wheel Fix is the answer to all your wheel needs. And here's the thing: if you're just looking to get your ride a new look, Troy, because you talked about you've got the black rims at You Break. They can make your wheels the colors of your favorite sports teams. You can get orange and green, aqua and orange, Miami Heat Vice colors, and I've seen some of these around town. They look fantastic. If you want to rep your teams in a different way.
The Jeeps, right?
Yes.
What is that? Everyone that drives a Jeep that's a sports fan, the Jeep is the color of their sports team.
That's right.
I like it. They have this little like family thing going on. I get it.
So you can get those done at U-Break as well. They love, and they can also do window tinting, performance upgrades, suspension modifications.
Yep.
They're located just south of Aventura. You can reach Mark and his staff at 305-748-0112 or online at ubreakwheelfix.com. They're really active on all social media platforms at ubreakwheelfix. You definitely want to follow them on Instagram because they post all the great pictures of those custom jobs that they do, and shoot them a DM there on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter and get an estimate in just minutes. U-Break Wheel Fix.
I will add this to it.
Yeah.
For a lot of guys out there who have nice rims on their car, you spent quite a bit of money for the rims on your car, and all of a sudden you're going down the road and you got those low profiles and you hit a pothole and you damage one of the rims and you're sitting there like, what do I do? That's where you need to take your car.
It's what you do. I've got the stock rims on, so maybe I will look at an upgrade. Rep one of my teams on there. Now, Troy Stradford, as we head into the NFL draft, the Dolphins are not scheduled to pick until pick 51 in the second round. Then their next pick will be 84 of the third round. So, based on position of need, BetOnline has odds on this. The favorite positions for the Dolphins to draft at number 51, it's a tie between offensive line and tight end at plus 200. Okay. Following those, it's defensive lineman at plus 400, running back at plus 700, linebacker plus 750, wide receiver plus 750, cornerback plus 4,000, quarterback plus 4,000. Neither of those things are happening, of course. Safety plus 4,000, and specialists, which is kickers and punters, at plus 20,000. So if you've got a hot tip on like, hey, there's a punter the Dolphins love in the second round, you may want to throw a bet on that at plus 20,000.
Not happening.
That's right?
Too much. You have too much money. If you're gonna make that bet, you got too much money.
Yeah, and so anytime like you're talking about positions of need, people are going to bring up the age-old debate between drafting for need versus drafting best player available. I don't really believe in the best player available thing, Troy, especially not when you're in the position the Dolphins are in, where they're trying to win now and they're trying to fix, the handful of weeks. It's a very strong team, this Miami Dolphins team. On paper, very strong team. They've only got a few real weaknesses to fill. So I think the only way to do this is to draft on need, because some people might say, well, hey, come 51, you might see there's an incredible cornerback there who you didn't think was going to be available. This guy should have been a first rounder. You got to draft him. Honestly, in this situation, maybe if you're just a rebuilding team and you're starting from scratch, but in the Dolphin situation, I think you have to draft based on need. I think it's going to have to be probably an offensive lineman, maybe a tight end with that first pick.
I agree. And listen, the experts out there that do their homework and they analyze the entire roster, break it down, sort of like those guys, they know what they're talking about. But there's another layer. The team itself on the inside, they know the potential of one of their players at a certain position that may be a little iffy. Like last year, what was the cornerback that didn't play all year?
Byron Jones.
Did any of us know that? We all thought Byron Jones was going to sit down for 2 weeks, 4 weeks.
So he's going to miss a couple weeks of training camp is what we thought.
And he's going to come back. The Miami Dolphins, I think they knew deep down inside that there's a chance we may lose him for the entire year. So they have that information that we are not privy to. So when the Miami Dolphins go up to make their selection, and honest, I am the worst guy to talk to when it comes to the draft, because I could give a rat's ass about the draft.
Really?
Absolutely. Because I look at myself. I was a 4th round draft pick, number 99 overall, but yet I was better than everyone in the draft. So
top 100 is nothing wrong with that.
Every team missed that were looking for a running back. Like I could name the 3-4 running backs, maybe 5 running backs that were selected before me, and their careers were like very short-lived. And I'm like,
wow,
you
good
know,
for you.
like I knew I was better than them, but it comes down to the team and what the team thinks of anyone. I can remember getting to a team, 2nd-round draft pick. I'm not going to call his name out, wide receiver. And I go out to practice and I played against him in college, right? And he torched us like a couple of years in a row. He torched us. Get down to training camp, and the Miami Dolphins drafted him in the 2nd round. And I said, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "This guy sucks." and that's how it works. So, Donno, I'm the worst guy to talk about when it comes to the draft.
It's good perspective, though.
Oh yeah, I forgot the guy's name. The Miami Dolphins drafted a defensive end guy in the first round years. Yes.
Oh, he was terrible. What a joke.
He was horrible. So you're sitting there telling me that the Miami Dolphins did that much homework and they had that many scouts.
They traded up to get him too.
Traded up to get him. They had that many smart guys in their organization that sat there and said, "That's the guy." They move up to get him, and this guy turns out to be like horrible. Right? So how I approach the draft is, okay, whoever the team drafts, I want to go out to training camp. I want to check them out, see how they progress through the preseason. Because this is what happens, Donno. There are a lot of players where everything is handed to them on a silver platter in college. Everything is designed for them, and it's designed to make them shine. And they shine in that position. I get that. But there are so many players, and this happens from high school to college also. There are so many players, they get to the next level where all of a sudden they're playing against guys who are just as good as them or better than them, and they're not capable of making the leap to the next level because everything has been handed to them throughout their careers. So I'm the wrong guy to talk to. I just go with, okay, this is who they picked. That's what I'm going to roll with. I'm not the guy that'll jump out there and say, "Oh, that was a bad pick. They should have picked someone else." And I'm like, no, I'm going to go with what the team, because they're much smarter than I am. They have more resources than I have. And let's see if the guy develops, because sometimes the stage is just too big for the next level for certain players. Right. And you never. So on testing day, you can lift 300 pounds, you can run the fastest 40. We need to change that, by the way. They need to start running the 40-yard dash with pads on, because no one runs without pads in the game.
That's a great point.
That's absolutely ridiculous. So I'm kind of wishy-washy on that. Now, if I had been a first-round draft pick, I would have sat here and said, "Yeah, first-round draft picks are better than everyone else." So take it with.
I think that's some great perspective, and there's obviously a lot of politics that go into it, and there's politics after the draft as well, because for anyone out there who's a 7th-round pick or an undrafted free agent, because a bunch of those undrafted free agents are going to get a quote-unquote opportunity to go be training camp bodies, but they don't really get a fair shake. Like a lot of these guys, they might play a little bit better than some of the 4th and the 5th round picks, but they're going to get cut because teams made an investment in the draft picks.
Yeah. Now, that's the political side of it. Some guys have not made a team because the team drafted someone higher, so they gave them some upfront money, and they didn't want to lose their investment. Okay, but who is the best young quarterback in the draft last year? He was the last guy picked in the doggone NFL draft.
The one in San Francisco, Purdy. Yeah, he was Purdy. He was the very last player picked.
Last pick.
Yeah.
And for him to materialize the way he did and play the way he did, I go back to that week that the Miami Dolphins played him. I'm watching that game and I'm sitting here and saying, oh, he's a rookie. He's going to make a mistake. It's coming.
Never
it's
came.
coming. Mistake never came.
Yeah.
And then I sit there and go, how the hell did all of these teams miss him through all of these rounds? And you never know what it is. You never know what it is.
So last thing I wanted to make sure we cover on this episode is finally became official yesterday. Adam Schefter was the one who broke the news. I believe he's the one who broke the news. At least ESPN was promoting it as if he was the one. Aaron Rodgers to the Jets is finally official. I can see why it took a long time to figure out this compensation, because this ended up being a really big trade with a lot of moving parts. And yes, technically the Packers did trade their first round pick or the Jets did trade their first round pick to get him, but it was basically a pick swap. So the New York Jets receive Aaron Rodgers. They receive the number 15 overall pick in exchange for their 13th overall pick. So they move 2 spots down, essentially. They receive a 2023 fifth round pick, which is number 170. And the Packers, in exchange for Aaron Rodgers, receive that number 13 overall pick in this draft. So they move up 2 spots, a 2023 second round pick, which is a good pick, number 42. That's a solid second round pick, a 6th round pick, which is number 207, a conditional 2024 second round pick that becomes a first if Rodgers plays 65% of the plays, which, barring injury, he's obviously gonna, like, unless he, misses half the year for an injury or something, he's going to play. So that's obviously that's a lot in return. Like, the Jets are, even though they only move down a couple spots in this draft, they're giving up a lot for Aaron Rodgers. But do you think, because I'm leaning to the idea, and I hope it doesn't work out for the Jets, but I'm leaning to the idea that was worth it for them, because if the Rodgers trade works out for a team that looks at themselves as just a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender, small window because he's old, but you've got your quarterback for a couple of years. You've got your quarterback. So it's a gamble for the Jets, but I think it's a gamble worth taking, because, Troy, if they had even competent play at quarterback last year, the Jets would have been really good, but they didn't have, Absolutely. Like, it was, their quarterback shuffle. I mean, our guy who's now the Dolphins backup was okay at times, but their starter, Zach Wilson, was just a disgrace to the quarterback position. It was like negative quarterback play, and Joe Flacco wasn't good either. So they were like a competent quarterback away from being really good. So I think the juice was worth the squeeze for them.
So does Wilson remain on that team? Does he learn from Aaron Rodgers? You believe so?
I don't know. Is Aaron Rodgers the type who wants to teach him anything?
No.
Remember who his mentor was Brett Favre, who didn't want to teach him anything.
Listen, the Jets been down this road before, right? They did the same thing with Brett Favre. So this is a gamble for the New York Jets, but the New York Jets I think they're a little bit younger. I could be wrong on this. I think they're a little bit younger overall than the Miami Dolphins are.
Yeah, I think so.
I could be wrong on that. But that team is ready to win now. So all of a sudden you put a quarterback in that's capable, that's proven. And now I was so hoping that this happened, Donald. You heard me mid-season or right after the season ended. I sat there and said,
uh-oh. He just froze on me. What did he sit there and say? Oh, wait, I can hear Troy. There you are. I think you're back.
I sat there and said, this would be great for the AFC East. It'd be great for the AFC. Like, all the quarterbacks, for the most part, are in the AFC. And that means that your team will pay more attention. The preparation that they put in on a weekly basis will be at a higher level than if you're playing the Houston Texans. No disrespect to them, but if you're playing the Houston Texans, you're not as focused as if you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs. That's just life. That's just how things go. But I look at this thing and I sit here and say, the Miami Dolphins, they have stiff competition inside their division and then inside the conference, or did I say that backwards?
Well, they both apply,
Yeah, no,
right?
I said it right.
Yeah,
They
you said it
both
right.
apply. I said it right. And
Yeah.
that means that team should be more focused on a weekly basis, no weeks off. Everyone's trying to practice. And that's just the way I see that thing. Here's the thing with Aaron Rodgers and any quarterback of his caliber. Aaron Rodgers, I used to say this about Tom Brady all the time. Aaron Rodgers, right now, when game week, they get ready to play the Miami Dolphins. Aaron Rodgers affects the defensive coordinator and the plays that he calls, how he approaches that offense, just because it's Aaron Rodgers, because he knows Aaron Rodgers could beat you at any moment. Tom Brady could beat you at any moment. So he already affected the defensive coordinator. Next, you go down, he affects the players. Those players are sitting there saying, I can't gamble against Aaron Rodgers. And so that's what those great quarterbacks bring to the table. So if I'm a New York Jet fan, and yeah, I'm hearing it from some of my buddies from back home because I grew up in Jersey. They're like Jet fans. I'm hearing it from them. They're already like, I'm only joking, but they already bought their Super Bowl tickets. They're ready to go to the Super Bowl and watch the
You're
Jets.
not wrong.
And I'm like, pump your brakes, man.
Yeah,
Pump your brakes. But it'd be great to see the Dolphins healthy and good, the Jets healthy and good, the Patriots healthy and good.
No, they're
and
not
the
going to be
Buffalo
good. The
Bills
Patriots.
healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
The
When was the
other
last
one's
time we
fine.
said that
Yeah.
about the Patriots?
Yeah.
Going into a season, you're looking at them and a lot of people say, the Patriots are going to finish last. Like, what?
Yeah. It's
What
unusual feeling. Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you for chiming in on the live chat. Alex M., Daniel, Indade. Huge thanks to Troy Stradford. And guys, I want to make sure you know it's going to be a busy NFL draft week here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. In fact, tonight at 7:30, we're going to have Pulse of Fins Nation. Louis D. Sung and Ron Caniff are going to be hosting that right here on 5 Reasons Sports YouTube, 7:30 p.m. Pulse of Fins Nation. Our guy Louis and Ron, they both do a fantastic job, so make sure you tune into that. I'll probably be popping on the network again later on this week. All of a sudden, though, my dance card is getting very full of radio, Troy. I'm going to be doing a lot of WQAM the next couple of days. I'm going to be on 6 to 8:15 tomorrow, 6 to 8 p.m. on Thursday before the first round. We may do something Friday as well. So, well, I know I'd love to bring you on one of those shows to talk Dolphins. I know you're not going to break down the draft picks because
no.
but I
could care less about it.
I know. Well, we could talk about that. So maybe I will bring you on because we could have a little bit of fun. So huge thank you and shout out to everybody. Make sure you support Prize Picks, U-Break, Wheel Fix, and make sure you support BetterEdge.com. 5RSN is the code there. We'll talk to you guys again next time on another episode of The Extra Yard on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. See ya.